Okay, Ken, this is Dennis Clark, and I'm going to do a review of your lesson. Today is February 7th on Friday, and I think, there's clearly some progress, and your setup looks really good right now. The only thing that we did with your setup really was to keep that be aware of that left thumb, that's all, just to keep your hands out of it. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Your setup is really very neutral, very good. The other thing I did was make you aware of a little more of an open stance. So wherever you're aiming, just feel like you're aiming slightly left. And the reason for that is I'm trying to get you through the ball. And it's hard to get through the ball when you're closed, when your setup is aiming over here to the right a bit. So you have a habit of getting your feet a little bit going off to the right, and it makes it harder for us to get through the ball, which is ultimately what we're trying to do for you. Okay? Now your swing is, as I've said before, and I don't say this in any critical way, I'm saying exactly what it is. There are things about it that are less than conventional. That's clearly one of them. The club gets pulled way inside very quickly, and I want to get you to the point where you can get the club and you through the ball more often. And there are times that, as much as I would love to leave this alone, knowing that you don't want to get technical about this, I just think that there will always be what I'll call sporadic success if it doesn't get a little bit more out in front of you. Okay, so like there. Okay, so at the point where he is about belt high like you are, I think you want to notice one thing. His hands are pretty much right where they started. Okay, see how far in your hands have pulled? Yeah, so that you do pull it inside pretty far, and the club gets very far behind you at times, so it should never get behind you really. As soon as it gets even with your hands here, it should start to go up, as his is, so it's pointed right at the golf ball. This golf club on the right with the professionals pointed at the golf ball, and that would be a good goal for us. But yours is very flat, and it's pointed well outside the ball. You can see again his hands are under his right shoulder here, and your hands are pretty far back. So as I said today, it doesn't have to look like the swing on the right. I'm saying that every little bit is going to help us if it doesn't get too far behind you in the backswing. Okay? So just be aware of it. And it gets a little too far pointed over here at the top of the swing. And his is pointed right down the line of where he's trying to go here. And whenever it points like that, the bottom line is it comes down very, very steeply. So it goes from flat in the backswing to very steep in the downswing. So if I bring his hands directly under his shoulders here, we're about where yours are. Here's a golf club that's tilted on about a 45-degree angle, and one that's here, close to a 90-degree angle. So as I said today, if you can work in your practice that this club gets a little bit more here, you are going to be in a much better position to get through the ball and not hit those occasional real fat shots where you hit behind it. When you hit the ball fat, I want you to be aware that this is why. Because you cannot always recover from that position. So when you get through it, where you're having, I think, real good progress is you're using your lower body and you're turning through the ball better. Like your right heel is off the ground, your belt buckle is already starting to turn to face the target, and you're not as above where you started as when we first started to work on this. So this part here, even though it's still pointed up here through the arm and through the chest, is better than it was. It was like this at one time. So this is coming down a little bit. The goal, of course, being to get back to that red line as much as we possibly can. You'll see the golfer on the right here, the professional player, come down into the ball, and at impact with the ball, he is right where he started. Okay, so, and I know that we're not going to get there, and I'm not pretending like you have to. I'm saying that you will get better and more consistent at golf the closer we get to it, and the more through it you get with your body. So if you have the club very steep coming down and you don't turn with your body, you're going to hit the ground. But if you keep turning like that, you're going to play better golf. What I want you to take from this little segment right here in the lesson today is the more you turn to the target, the better off you're going to be. It's that simple. And the way to turn to the target more consistently is to get this guy to not come down so vertical. Is to get it a little bit more on this angle when you come down, when you start down. Because now you really can't go all the way through. What you've got to do is back up a little bit and raise that handle. And that's why the club's up there a little bit. So I know you don't like to get too technical about it, and I hope that that's pretty clear for you, but the steepness of the downswing is stopping you from always being consistent as you want. So if we get that a little bit down, a little bit flatter, a little bit more sidearm, say, a little more horizontal, thinking this way, then you're going to be able to turn through the ball and be a lot more consistent with control on the club face and the control on where it bottoms out. You know what I'm saying? You'll not only will you not have some of those real big hooks because you're coming from so far inside, but also you're going to be hitting the turf in front of the ball, which is the most important, because you know the fat shot is the killer. The hook can be played. You know, and any day when I've played in tournaments, any day when I was hooking and I just aimed it out there and played it, the fat shot can't be played. That's the one that's a killer. That's the reason that you're having these forays up past 100. You should never be over 100. Never. And as long as you're remaining active, we get this club a little better angle, you're going to be in good shape. All right, buddy? Okay, good working with you.